Hey man, I thought I wished for infinite wishes, not infinite sequels.
Welcome to the horror show. You realize there is nowhere to run. Don't know, came to fight. Paranoia is getting alive.
Wishmaster 2, Evil Never Dies. Wow. What a great title. The plot! During a heist in an artifact exhibit at Robert England's museum, with no Robert England. Did he die though? Morgana, played by Holly Fields, her boyfriend Eric, played by Chris Webber, and another accomplice are doing pretty well. That is until unnamed accomplice, apparently played by an uncredited Corey Haim, smashes the glass of one of the showcases, and the alarm goes off. Can you believe that? Dumbass? After a shootout which results in the statue that holds the jewel from the first movie, the djinn escapes and starts granting wishes. This time he needs 1,001 souls to rule the earth, with a race of djinn. Oh really, there's more than one now. Makes sense for the sequels, you know. Different actor. Anyway, can Morgana and a priest, Gregory, played by Paul Jonason, stop the djinn and the genie apocalypse, or will evil never die? I mean, it was a simple plot, didn't really need 4 lines of dialogue written into the script for it. It could have been more though, because the djinn, played yet again by Andrew Divoff, goes to some great locations such as a prison and a casino. This could have been a great movie, but sadly, it is only decent. And it's not because the movie is bad itself, it's actually quite enjoyable. That is, if you can look past the massive plot holes and inconsistencies between this and the first movie. I mean, good God! The opening scene involving the rebirth of the djinn is a plot hole itself. Speaking of God, religion is a big key in this movie. Does it open a door to an interesting perspective, or does it go cheesy? Surprisingly, it does decently. It could have gone overboard on pushing the religion aspects in our faces, but instead it played it straight, and didn't let it overtake the story. Gregory on a cross was a bit much, but a bit demonically evil as well. Priest on the stick! Priest on the stick! What have I just done? To hell with me! This movie doesn't capture the charm of the first too much. It has a different feel, but still seems like it's an 80s movie. I am so glad Andrew Divoff returned for this movie. He has such an evil energy about him. He looks like the humified devil. I think the acting is overall decent. Divoff was definitely the highlight. Jack Shoulder, who directed Arachnid, 12 Days of Terror, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, and a few more films, directed and wrote this film. I wonder what happened to him. He hasn't directed anything since 12 Days of Terror in 2004. He's a pretty good director. I like his films, and the practical effects are always a real treat. Funny enough, Anthony C. Ferrante from Sharknado 1 to 5 fame, Headless Horseman and Hansel and Gretel, yeah, he directed all those, I forgot to say that, dumbass, was the second unit director for this film. The gore, the effects, the budget was cut in half for this film. $2.5 million as opposed to the $5 million budget of the first movie, and it sadly kind of shows. There is not as much gore. 3 scenes are awesome. The birth of the djinn, the cage pushed through, and the man ripper are all highlights. It does get a bit ridiculous at times though, with the farting change and the man literally humping himself. For what effects there were, they were great. The musical score, much like the first movie, it could have been more. It was done by David C. Williams, who worked on Critters 3 and Shakma before this. This is not as good as the first, but it is not horrible either. It's only slightly above decent. There's not much else I can say about it. I liked the locations. Divoff did a great job. The effects were good, and the ending was a creative twist on the first movie's finale. But everything else was kind of meh. While this was a direct-to-DVD follow-up, hell, it came on a double feature with the first one. The first one went to theaters. It made 3 times the budget of that movie, but still was not a major success. Thus, to DTV the sequels go. Overall, I give Wishmaster 2, Evil Never Dies a 3 out of 5. I am Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and to leave comments and subscribe.